Okay, we have now over 75 people on, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. We actually had over 150 people registered for this webinar, so I'm sure that we will have more people joining us. Welcome. My name is Pamela Goodman, and I'm the president and CEO of Ruthless Florida. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to Wednesday, April 15th, which is tax day, right? Oh, wait, no, not even that is normal. It's not even tax day today. Nothing is normal in the current situation of things, not even taxes. There's really no such thing as politics as usual. You know, our business of being with people and shaking hands and talking face to face, listening to constituents, talking to voters, having our candidates and our elected officials interact with them. None of that is as usual right now. Not today, Wednesday, April 15th, in the midst of this really horrible virus that has clearly taken hold of all of our lives. But while some elected officials seem to be pointing fingers or discrediting science, we would like to think that the women here at Ruthless are trying to put forth wise women with solutions, engaging in discourse that leads to action, and most importantly, holding elected officials accountable and taking action for a Florida and a country that is both equitable and safe. Clearly, we are facing many collateral crises as a result of this virus, but the most dire and the one that is being discussed most appropriately this week is the economy, the businesses that are failing and the people that are suffering because of it. Both are looking for answers and help and aid to survive. Interestingly enough, and some of you may know this and some may not, before taking the helm here at Ruthless, I came from over 20 years in the corporate business world myself, culminating in the president and CEO of the Limited Express retailing chain, of division of a Fortune 100 corporation, the Limited. I oversaw 850 stores, $1.5 billion in revenue, and thousands of employees, from distribution center workers to retail clerks to upper management leaders of the business. It was my job to understand really the plight of all of them and the fear and anxiety and the tough decisions that have to be made by leadership in these types of situations. So with that being said, I'm honored not to talk about my past experience, but certainly an understanding of it. But I'm honored today by two incredibly wise women in their own right to discuss and enlighten you on the aspects of the current economic crisis in our state and our country. First, Representative Anna Eskamani. She was elected in 2018 to represent HD 47 in Orlando. She, I know, has devoted her really entire life to, number one, educating herself, even as she's currently working hard on finishing her doctorate degree currently. But more importantly, she's been a relentless member of her community as an advocate, showing bold leadership, smart management. This woman is a leader. She's not only been recognized in her district and beloved in her district, but in this state, with her peers, with voters, with constituents, and nationally. Cover of Time magazine, she holds that honor. She's going to be sitting on a nationally recognized panel coming up of progressive leaders in our country, but recognized really for her willingness to learn quickly all new areas of government, to advocate for good legislation quickly, while also having not just the head, but the heart and the compassion. She stays up all night answering emails, pleas and questions from her constituents, particularly on this economic crisis. We welcome Representative Anna Eskamani. Joining her is Patricia Sigman, who is a board certified labor and employment attorney. She's a certified mediator. She's a community volunteer. She's a small business owner. She's a voting rights advocate. and she's a mom. Patricia has fought some of the most powerful interests in Florida on behalf of whistleblowers who were fired for doing the right thing, standing up for victims of sexual harassment, workers fired due to their age, race, or sex, and employees whose big employers refused to pay them what they promised. She's helped small businesses, many small businesses, facing various legal battles as well. Oh, and she is a first-time candidate running for Senate District 9 in Seminole County. And it's my pleasure to welcome Patricia Sigman. So with that, there's lots of applause on the screen for both of you ladies. With that, I'd like to begin our discussion today. Again, housekeeping, and I see a lot of questions popping up. I'll be moderating and asking the representative and our Patricia the questions that you post. But I will turn the floor now over to our representative, Honorable Eskamani.
Thanks so much, Pam, and hi everyone. It's great to share space with you this morning. Thanks for taking the time. This is a really important conversation, and you know, as Pam was giving such sweet introductions, I was responding to constituent emails about unemployment insurance, and so it does not stop. I have been, you know, for the last 4 to 5 weeks, just focused on COVID-19 response. We made the decision in early March to actually suspend all field activities in our campaign and to turn all the gears towards public health information work. And so we crafted a guide on our website at cflcovid.com in English and Spanish that really serves as a one-stop shop for resources on coronavirus. And it does include information around small business support and unemployment insurance. And we update that daily just to be a landing spot for folks who might need resources and can't navigate all of the layers of, you know, government and bureaucracy to get to the facts they need. Despite our efforts of being organized, many of you have seen the news, you might be experiencing it yourself, you might have family experiencing it when it comes to how broken Florida's unemployment insurance system is. And I know Patricia we'll be talking more about just the formation of that program and her experience too as a professional in the labor attorney world. But just from the perspective of a lawmaker and advocate, it has been one of the biggest shames of our state. I mean, this is a program that, first of all, was designed not to work. And we can thank now Senator Rick Scott, but Governor Rick Scott, for its original formation in 2011, after he won his election on that Tea Party wave. One of his biggest issues was reforming Florida's unemployment benefit system. He renamed it to reemployment assistance and created some really strict criteria where you actually, to get your benefits, you have to have 5 like interviews a week that you have to list on your profile of job interviews you took. You only can receive up to $275 a week. And you can imagine that how impossible it is to survive on. And in addition, there's a typical waiting period. So even after you apply, you have to wait a week, and then you don't get to file your hours until the unworked weeks pass. And so even before COVID-19, most individuals waited 2 to 3 weeks to even get their first benefit in. And so the program not only was just really designed to be unable to survive on, but of course the website had problems, and the Auditor General had reported website problems for years, and it was ignored by Governor Scott and now Governor Ron DeSantis, with the most recent report being released on March of 2019. So this $77 million website has been horrific, and to this day, the governor has not even told us how many claims have actually been processed to the point that people are seeing relief. Yesterday, it was really awkwardly announced by the governor that some of the CARES Act is going to be implemented, and just to unpack that a little bit. So, you know, because Florida's unemployment insurance is so narrow, many people don't qualify. And that includes self-employed people. They cannot apply for any benefits in Florida. And that's thanks to a 2018 legislation by the Republican-led legislature specifically for Uber and Lyft, because they did not want their workers to organize or get benefits. And so that's why we have that current law right now in Florida. And as a result, a lot of these folks who are part of the tourism economy, events driven, they don't qualify for anything. So what the CARES Act does as part of its provisions is expand eligibility. So it allows self-employed folks to apply for benefits at $600 a week. That's federally funded. They do have to qualify at the state level. So we have had some issues of constituents who make more than $275 a week, like they make $350 now, and they still can't qualify. So that's another area where we're really trying to address, is increasing that cap for folks. And then the other area of the CARES Act is the extra $600 a week to those who already qualify in Florida. And yesterday was announced that that group of people are going to be getting a check in the mail now for $600, because apparently a check was faster than anything else, which is, again, the fact that we had to turn to paper in 2020 is really not okay. And then the third category is an additional 13 weeks. And so we do have Floridians who have used up their weeks because they've experienced unemployment before. And so they have no weeks to check in. And so the CARES Act is supposed to give them an extra, I believe, 13 weeks that's federally funded for every person at $600. And I did see someone, Andy, commented about the Disney workers. So actually, yeah, it's actually going to be about 70,000 potentially Disney workers, all seeking benefits on April 19th. And the governor did say yesterday, and again, this news broke because of a tweet from Matt Gaetz. So I want to be clear that the governor is not communicative. DO is not communicative. I literally have to dig for information every moment. When DO calls me, I have to drop everything to pick up because I don't know if they'll call me again. And it's very frustrating. And so to the Disney workers, and I'll close with this and pass it to Patricia, but the Disney workers will be furloughed April 19th, and there will be an influx of people trying to use this broken website. So there is a discussion that is happening right now between Disney and DO about trying to streamline these employees. But I will say it's pissed off a lot of other workers, because we do have workers who have waited 3 to 4 weeks and have gotten nothing. So there is a sense of tension right now around, why does one company get to streamline their workers? The rest of us are still waiting. And so there's obviously, I see the point that streamlining some workers is very helpful, because hopefully it reduces the traffic on the website for everyone else. But I also empathize with that feeling of just anger, and I got one email today from the Maitland area, and I'll just read it real quick. Part of it, it has almost been 3 weeks since I was furloughed. Money is tight and I haven't received my stimulus check yet. I need the unemployment benefits. Why am I, as well as others, being punished for a website that was overtaxed and kept crashing? So that's the sentiment we've heard for these past few weeks. And in addition to trying to get folks just to apply and get the CARES Act implemented, we're also now pushing for back pay. Meaning that I want to see folks get the benefits that were that they should have already received in the weeks that they've been waiting, so that they receive benefits for the date they became unemployed, not the date the process of their application. And so, yeah, I will pass it back to Pam or give it to Patricia to continue the conversation.
Great, thank you, Representative. And with that, Patricia, you're unmuted. Patricia Sigman, our candidate for Senate District 9, our labor and union attorney. Patricia, it's all yours.
Thank you, Pam, and I appreciate all of you being here today to get up to speed on these issues and to share your questions. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and being able to answer those questions, and just knowing what the questions are, because everything is changing so quickly, will be really interesting and informative. And Representative Eskamani has been just working her fingers to the bone, answering calls and really trying everything she can to help her constituents. So thank you so much for all the hard work you're doing. The unemployment system in bigger picture has been a problem we've been battling for many years. And in Florida, with the standard benefit being a max of $275 a week and a relatively short duration, a lot of people find it to be too cumbersome even in normal circumstances and get frustrated and unable to get questions answered and end up giving up and not filing or not being able to get their maximum benefits because the system is frustrating. You have to remember, and I'm sure many of you know or are experiencing this now, when people lose their job, they have, the air knocked out of their entire body, right? It's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to get yourself going again. It's hard to find a routine. It's hard to just put one foot in front of the other. And to add on it the extra burden of having to fight through a difficult system, it's more than many people really can do, or they won't be able to do it for several weeks after they've been terminated, and it takes them a while to recover. And so they lose out on the weeks they haven't been able to file for. So we've been seeing the effects of this system, and obviously right now, the system being under pressure and stressed with so many applications, all of the worst of it has come to bear and all of it is exposed. And so what's interesting is that in addition to the public attention to it, this is an issue on unemployment that has been a rare moment of uniting both employers and employees in the same concern, because the employers whose employees have been terminated, laid off, furloughed, et cetera, reduced hours, at this point, they really want their employees to get these benefits, and they want them to get them now. These are people they did not want to let go, or people they wanted, they love them like family in many cases. They wanted them to be able to work. And so when they let them go, they told them, hey, go ahead and apply for these benefits. The employers too expected the employees to be able to get these benefits right away and start receiving them, and everything was going to be okay. So you've got both employers and employees on the same side of this, and all frustrated and trying to make sure that they can get these benefits into the hands of the employees. So we're hoping to see that improve, and I do appreciate the elected officials like Representative Eskamani who are pushing and pushing and pushing on the state agencies to make sure that this happens. So in addition to the employment piece of applying, I'll just want to give you a quick kind of advanced view. When people are denied, they have an appeal right. And that appeal ends up in a hearing that is now, under the revisions that were done a number of years ago, unfortunately a telephone hearing instead of a live hearing, which even under normal circumstances is difficult or disadvantage to the employees who are fighting for their benefits. So hoping that after all of this is resolved, and hopefully these folks who desperately need this money right now and who are waiting for it right this minute will get it in their hands. But the entire system really needs to be overhauled and fixed in a way that is fair and takes into account the importance of this safety net for people. There are a couple of other employment law pieces that I would like to highlight for you, and because there's a lot of information, we can't cover it all. I would like to make sure you all know my website has a page on it. My website is patriciasigman.com. It's just my name.com. And I have a COVID-19 resources page where I have posted employment law details with regard to the FFCRA, which provides additional leave and leave benefits and paid leave for people in relation to this, which I'll talk about for a moment, information about the new EEOC guidelines, information about OSHA and whistleblower retaliation in relation to COVID-19, and some other things. So if you go to patriciasigman.com and click the COVID-19 resources page, what we're talking about is there, and the links to all of the right sites are right there for you, so you don't have to take notes. But we do have a new law under the FFCRA that expanded some leave for people in different categories, people who either are diagnosed or quarantined or experiencing symptoms, people who have to take off work in order to stay home with a child whose school is closed due to the closure orders, people who have a family member who is experiencing COVID-19, those kinds of things. And so there is now the ability to get the paid leave, whereas normally it would be unpaid. And the details of it are pretty rigorous as far as just memorizing details. What you want to keep in mind is that there's a general 2 weeks of paid leave for most people if the employer is under 500 employees. And then there's up to an additional 10 weeks at a lesser amount of pay, at 2/3 of pay, for people who have to stay home, for example, due to a school closure. And the Department of Labor gave a 1-month waiting period before they're going to enforce that. So it went into effect for April 1st. So we're looking at another couple of weeks before we will see exactly how the Department of Labor is enforcing that law. But they want the employers at this point to be using good faith and best efforts, and doing the right thing by their employees with regard to those pieces of leave. And then the other thing I'd like to highlight for you, because it's come up several times since this crisis started in my practice, the most number of calls we've received about employment-related problems have not been as much with leave, but the problem has been, unfortunately, people who have expressed concerns about the safety measures in their workplace for COVID-19 and then experience various forms of retaliation by the employer. And I want to make sure both employers and employees understand that there is a general duties clause under the OSHA regulations, which regulate employee safety. And those regulations essentially say that the employer has a general duty to provide a safe workplace for all known hazards. And obviously now COVID-19 is a known hazard. And there are various circumstances. Every workplace is a little different. So how the employee is put in a physical proximity to a customer or other coworkers, or things that could expose them to this COVID-19 virus. So everybody from healthcare workers to workers across other industries in their individual workplaces started noticing, hey, I think this is dangerous, or I think that is dangerous. And the employers need to know that when employees make those kinds of complaints, they are protected under OSHA and Florida law, and retaliation is prohibited. So I would encourage employers to just work with the employees. They're doing you a favor when they tell you that there's a danger here or there's a concern. You know, be positive, work with them instead of against them, and you'll keep yourself out of trouble and do the right thing. So we also have EEOC has issued some new guidelines, you know, questions and answers about if employers are allowed to take the temperature of employees, because that's obviously a good indicator of whether somebody has the COVID-19 virus, and the answer to that is yes. And so there's a whole Q&A that the EEOC put out and a guidance on this, and it is listed on my website also, patriciasigman.com, on the COVID-19 resources page. So I'm happy to take whatever questions everyone has, and for both me and I'll be interested to hear the information from Representative Eskamani as well. And thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Patricia. And again, thank you, Representative. So I hope everyone caught both of their websites. Patricia mentioned hers. Patricia, that's her first name, Patricia Sigman, S-I-G-M-A-N, all one word, patriciasigman.com, www.patriciasigman.com. And for Representative Eskamani, www.ANNA, A-N-N-A, for F-O-R, Florida.com, ANNA4Florida.com. And they both have lots of information on both of their websites. So I'll start in with a few of the questions, and staff, if you can help me make sure that I get through all of them, please. So I think it was you, Representative, that was talking about the applications. And the question was, are paper applications really better at this point in time rather than going online? What do you recommend?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way the rollout happened with these different applications was, of course, a mess. And so, you know, Connect is the Florida system that folks will claim their weekly wages, and it is the only program that has connection to the state coffers. And so right now there is no other program in Florida that will actually release money to you. Connect is the only system that can do that. So Connect was, it is a mess, and what the state did in an effort to try to alleviate the attempts to create an account on Connect, they rolled out a PDF. And the PDF is a preference for some, right? Because you do have families that are not technologically savvy. We have many seniors who are applying for unemployment benefits right now, so they might actually prefer a paper form over a digital platform. Unfortunately, the forms have been updated without even notification. Like, I would say every 2 days I look at the form and there's something different on it, and there's not really an alert of that. So it continues to be really messy, but the form can be mailed in. FedEx is overnighting forms, and you could pick up a form at a FedEx location, and they will be inputted into Connect, but they could take longer. And at one point, your only two options were Connect or the PDF. Then the state rolled out a, quote, new website. And I use air quotes because it's not really a new website. It's just a new, kind of like a TurboTax for the form. So it's not like a new website where you'll be able to actually file your claims. It's just a new tool to fill out an application. But then DO has to migrate your information from that form into Connect and create a Connect account for you, just like what they would do with the PDF if you were to mail it in. So my recommendation for folks, if you haven't applied yet, or if you're waiting to apply because of the CARES Act implementation, I would definitely do that new mobile form. And we encouraged a lot of folks who had done paper to consider also doing the mobile version, because it would be faster for them. And DO did tell us that they're going to look for duplicates and basically deduplicate as forms come by. So hope that answers the question.
Great, thank you, Representative. Right at the beginning of our webinar, I mentioned tax day, and it probably pinged in someone's head. Do people have to submit to the IRS an extension today for that July date, or are they automatically extended?
No, automatically, yeah. So automatically extended, so that's the federal level, right? And then Florida actually has delayed sales tax and property taxes actually to today. So I hope it will be extended. We've asked for an extension of sales and use tax alongside property taxes. That does impact our small businesses. So the governor extended it to today, and we've asked him for another extension.
Okay, great. This is clearly from a small business owner. Is an employer required to pay the accrued PTO to a furloughed employee?
And Patricia, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. So the law allows the employee to use for the first 2 weeks of the paid leave under FFCRA. The employee can use, if they have accrued leave for the first 2 weeks, they can use that and then pick up using the paid FFCRA leave following that. So that is what employees would typically be doing if they have accrued leave. They are allowed to do that. And there's an updated, I do have a link to this on my website as well as to that DOL rule, but there's an updated rule and a rule correction that just came out that I'll be posting just momentarily after we get off of this call. So it'll be up there as well.
Terrific, great, thanks.
And then I'll add too that you cannot apply for benefits in Florida if you are receiving paid time off that exceeds $275 a week. And so some folks have to even wait longer to apply, because according to DO, if you have wages over $275 that week, whether it's from paid time off or something else, you still can't qualify.
So that's a good segue into a question that Celise is asking. She said, as an employer in California, we paid into the unemployment benefits insurance much more than $275 a week. Aren't companies and businesses in Florida paying more insurance than is going to these individuals? Do we know that?
No, actually, Florida corporations lobbied for the $275 we have today. So Florida actually has one of the lowest tax rates for corporations to pay into, but we also have one of the lowest benefits. And so it really actually is because of corporations in 2011 that lobbied the governor for the current system we have now.
Great. How's that working out for us today? Rachel wants to know, are contract medical employees who had to be quarantined due to potential exposure eligible for the medical family leave 2-week pay?
If they're quarantined, yes, they should be getting that. There is an allowance under the law with the new regs that are coming out that allows healthcare employers to be exempt from some of that. But I have not yet had any of the healthcare employers that I've been hearing about trying to engage that. If they're quarantined or you're furloughed, you should be getting that pay. But there is, under the regs, a right to exempt them from those things, which the employer doesn't have to take the exemption.
Okay, thank you. Paula Ryan is asking, can you speak to the digital divide? Are kids in school and are families trying to apply?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a serious concern for us. First, just the distance learning for schools. I don't think it's appropriate that we're going to be, if we were to grade kids the same way we always grade them right now, knowing that not every learning environment is conducive to being able to excel in, knowing that not every family has a computer or has strong internet access. Now, of course, schools should, if you're in a public school, they made it a priority to provide at least computers to students, and the Department of Education did empower local school districts to use whatever resources they have to try to get internet access to older students as well. But I think even with those efforts, there's still going to be inequities. And we've been working with families who live in motels off 1792. And OCPS has a homeless outreach team that went to these motels and, provided packets and resources. But again, you're a family of 4, a family of 5 in a small motel room. Your parents are now unemployed, and kids are supposed to be in school. Like, it's really, really hard. There's also the lack of food availability. So the schools are trying to get food to these motels directly. So, the challenges in the educational spaces are very, very real. And then when it comes to unemployment insurance, we saw the long lines at a Hialeah library for forms. And again, I think that was driven by a broken website, but also the fact that some people do prefer paper because they're not used to computers. And I spoke to someone yesterday in South Florida who's been deemed ineligible in her unemployment insurance benefits, and she doesn't have a computer, so she can't even appeal it because she doesn't have a computer. So we were trying to figure out how to help her. So every type of situation, you name it, we're experiencing it right now.
Thank you, Representative. Question from Lisa. Do you need to continue to request each week's benefits while your application is still pending?
So while it's pending, you really can't do anything. So if it says pending or processing, it doesn't look like in Connect, you just have to, you're kind of in purgatory. We've been calling it pending purgatory. But once you're approved, then yes, you have to file your weeks. And though the job search requirement was waived, it still asks you for it. So, we actually went to DO and asked them about that. And DO gave us almost like cut and paste words you can put into those boxes to avoid them. I mean, all of this is so broken, and it's a lot of just whack-a-mole. Like, how do we fix this one problem now quickly? And it's really creating a lot of confusion and just a system not designed to serve the public very well, which is probably its intention.
It's important to remember that it is so hard to even just do regular small things under the extreme stress people are having right now of having no paycheck and having children home, no paycheck, no unemployment coming in. The waiting game, waiting for the money, trying to put food on the table, trying to, find other employment in whatever opportunity they can, and to put this additional stressing, trying to get on the internet and trying to fill out forms and not knowing what's going to come tomorrow. It is not good for people. And some people are just not able to do it. They just shut down. They just give up. And so please encourage people you know who are going through it to just hang in there. And, you know, if you can get on your computer and help them do it, or, you know, just, you know, help these, it's sometimes it's just that one extra thing in the day that somebody who's been kind of kicked in the gut by losing their job, they just can't do it.
It's a really, really good point, Patricia. Those of us that are on this Zoom clearly all have Wi-Fi and a laptop in front of us, but yeah, many don't, and just that offering of help. Someone did post, and so I can't verify this as fact, but that FedEx does have the paper applications available, and they are willing to waive their fee to mail it to anyone that wants to take advantage of that. So just thought I would mention that. In your opinion, what is the likelihood, Representative, that we'll get retroactive unemployment benefits?
I feel like it's strong just because the majority of the public want it. It makes absolutely no sense that we don't do it. The governor also said that he was considerate of it and looking into it. I think the problem we face is that the operations of Connect are just horrific. I mean, the fact that we're now turning to paper checks, you know, as phase one of 3 different groups of people who are waiting for relief under the CARES Act is another indication of that. I mean, if it was a working, software, then ideally you can just say, all right, give these folks $1,200, you know, from this account, right? And it's not doing that. I think that's the frustration is how will it happen versus will it happen, and will it happen soon enough, right? So we keep pushing. That's one of our 2 asks for the governor is expediency and retroactivity. So we keep pushing that and we won't stop.
Great. This is Andy. So now we're getting a bit political here. His question is, how do we position us as the good guys and educate the voters on how the Republicans have cost our lower earning folks the most, and they may be Trump supporters? No additional Medicaid, or broken unemployment system, or local TV, he must be in the Fort Myers area, stations are showing how difficult it is for everyone in our region. He hopes that this question isn't too long, but in a nutshell, how do we represent ourselves as the good women, which I think both of you are? And it kind of extends into a second question. You both are getting great praise from everyone on this webinar, and we have well over 100 people at this point in time. They also want to know how do we either get you to Tallahassee, or how do we keep you in Tallahassee, because they are seeing and hearing that you are the voices that they want up there. But to Andy's question first, how do we become the good guys and convince people that many people are being affected by this, and it's many people that actually supported your opponents in elections? Or do we just keep our heads down and keep doing the right thing?
Right. I mean, it's a reminder that people don't know you are doing the good work unless you find a way to tell them that. And so I'll give a few quick examples. I mean, my cell phone number is in the email response that people will get when they email me. And it does say, if this is an emergency, like call or text me. But the reality is that for many folks, like their life is an emergency right now. So I've gotten a lot of just, cold calls basically. And folks are always surprised when I pick up the phone. And one person yesterday is a Republican from Pinellas, and he called me. Our office has been attracting, questions from across the state. And so, we spoke for 20 minutes. I could definitely tell that not only was he frustrated, but he just needed someone to talk to. And, he expressed disappointment in Ron DeSantis and President Trump and so forth. So I think, there's those moments where you got to show up for people and be at their level and be there when they call, right? But the other part of it is I've gotten emails from constituents in our district who have no idea about the work that we're doing. And I know that might sound kind of funny because all of us are like very engaged people and we watch the news, but I have gotten at least 3 angry emails from people in my district who say, what are you doing right now about unemployment? And, and the answer for me is like pretty simple because, I just send them a few articles that we've been mentioned in, and I highlight what we're doing and how we can help them. And so they calm down pretty quickly. But it's the reminder to not take anything for granted, because no matter like how good of a job we might be doing, or how many people we have talked to or impact, there's always someone else that has no idea. And it's grounded in just their connection to politics, their self-efficacy, their civic engagement. And this goes down to why, at the end of the day, you know, communication is so important, and communication also costs money. And so that's why, you know, when you're on a campaign, like one of the big expenses on any campaign is just communication, because yes, you might be the most incredible human being and most qualified person, but if people don't know that, they're never gonna be able to align with you and share your values, right? So so we've been working really hard to use all of our social media accounts as much as possible. And you might notice if you follow me on multiple platforms that we're very repetitive. You know, when I post something in one place, I'm posted somewhere else. And it really is grounded in my understanding that even in my networks, not everyone sees the same thing. And if I don't post something on Instagram, there might be thousands of people who never see it, even though I might have posted it on Facebook. So I think it's a combination of of working hard, showing up way before your opponent does, right? Calling out the Republican Party right now, and I've not been shy to do that. And so you got to draw the contrast, but then also have the means to communicate that contrast as much as you can.
Great.
I think that's what I'd like to add is that when you have these systems that are so broken, I mean, those systems are not discriminating between Republican and Democrat. There are Republicans struggling to get through this paper system, this broken computer system, this lack of benefits. They're hungry and waiting for checks and stressed out just the same way. So this is one of those situations where, like what we had years ago, you know, for sexual harassment, we've been litigating sexual harassment cases and talking about and fighting against sexual harassment for decades, but it took those high profile cases that affected everyone for people to care about that issue and have it be something that's important in the public discourse. And now here is the moment we're at with these unemployment benefits. You know, people are typically, they haven't wanted to talk about whether they're applying for unemployment benefits in the past. That's a personal, can be somewhat humiliating experience depending upon the person's personality, and people have not wanted to talk about it publicly. It's one of these things like being fired that stays very much in the shadows and hidden. And I think one good thing that's coming out of this is people are talking about this because this has given us license, because so many people have been laid off and let go. Now there's this community around caring about unemployment benefits and caring about the accessibility of them, the amount of them, the duration of them. And here we are. This is a moment to have people see this pure fact that laws that are made in Tallahassee affect the lives of people. And if you care about the people when you make those laws, then when the chips are down and this is going on, you're going to have laws that are going to be there to catch people when they fall. And that has not been a concern as much in the past. And so I think that, you know, we just need to be there for people. We need to help people. When people call us for help with unemployment or with employment termination, we're not asking them, are you red or are you blue? We're doing work. And I'm sure that at Representative Eskamani's office, it's the same thing. She picks up these calls. These people are calling for help. It's whether they're red or blue, she's digging in and trying to help them get their benefits. And so this is an everyone problem, and everyone needs to spread the word. So you asked, you know, what you can do to help people get to Tallahassee. You can spread the word about this. You can share our websites. You can share our social media. Mine is all Sigman for Senate is my social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please follow Sigman for Senate. Share our website, patriciasigman.com. There is a contribute button there, and I know people are hurting. Many people are not in a position to contribute right now, but getting to Tallahassee will also be about continuing to find creative ways to raise funds in this environment, because we need to be able to communicate with voters at the time of the election and continue to do all that work.
Absolutely. Thank you, Patricia. The next question you may want to take as well. She's being very honest. She says, I feel a bit overwhelmed, which probably means she's feeling very overwhelmed. As a small business owner, where can I find a step-by-step guide as to what I need to do? And I know I've talked to many small business owners. The treasurer of our organization is a small business owner, a financial services, and she's been working her way through the PPP and the IDL, you know, both of them, and it is cumbersome and confusing and as well. So Patricia, do you want to start on this one and Representative follow up?
Yes, sure. So first of all, feel free to call me and I'll share with you what I know. As a small business owner myself, I have worked through many of those steps, and I've been, since this started, talking with my friends and colleagues who have their own small businesses and kind of comparing notes on how everybody's handling everything, and reaching out to friends to help them apply for the PPP and everything. So feel free to call me. My number's right there on my website, or you can call my office number, which is the 407-332-1200 at my law office, and I'll be happy to jump on the phone and try to help you with some of that. My website does link a lot of these sources. There really isn't a separate order in which you have to do things. I mean, you have certain batches of things. You want to make sure that you're applying for the relief packages that you can get. So that's going to include the PPP and the other SBA loans and those programs. And then separately, you're going to want to make sure that you're complying with whatever leave requirements if you have employees that are on leave, or if you are putting people on, you know, furlough or things like that. So that's the other batch of things you want to think about. And then you got to run your business too, which isn't easy. And every business is having its own unique challenges related to this. So I have not seen a good step-by-step guide, and it gives me a good idea to try to create one. So feel free to call me, and I'll try to put something like that together and add it to my website as well.
Thank you. Thank you for that offer. I do want to let everyone know it's 10:50. We are going to make this an hour-long webinar, so we need to start to move into some wrap-up. We haven't gotten to all of the questions. What we will do are the questions that the representative and Patricia have not been able to answer. We will send to them and ask them to please just take a few extra moments today. All of you that are attending this webinar, you'll get the answers to those questions that we weren't able to answer verbally, as well as a recording of this webinar, so you can go back to it for reference and also post it out there. I'm going to take this opportunity to mention our website, www.ruthslistfl.org, RUTHSFL.org. On that website, under our candidates, you can click on both of our endorsed candidates, Representative Eskamani and Patricia Sigman, who is our incumbent and for HD 47 running for re-election, and Patricia Sigman running for SD9 for Senate. You can click on their sites, click on those names, which will take you directly to their sites, but we'll have this video posted as well. I know that the representative is very busy and has been answering emails during this. So Anna, I'm going to ask you to wrap it up with closing statements, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Pam, and thank you to Ruth's List as a whole for facilitating this great conversation and for really caring about these topics, right? Whether you're directly impacted or your loved ones are, it's so important that we're all plugged in and connected on it. I did share a link to the small business question. SBA.gov is a great resource that has a bunch of information on the federal programs available to our small businesses. And we do have resources on cflcovid.com as well in English and Spanish. But ultimately, we do not want to lose sight of the elections coming up. And I just want you all to know that our team is focused on, of course, delivering public health resources and getting through this crisis together. But I also spoke to our Orange County Supervisor of Elections this morning about vote by mail. I know that many of us are having those conversations because we don't want democracy to be delayed in August or November. And so obviously it's a balancing act of wanting to emphasize public health, but also knowing that we have some really important elections this year that we can't lose sight of. And that also includes electing Patricia Sigman to the Florida Senate, where when we get more numbers and we get more strong, especially women in office, then you do see a huge shift in the priorities, in the questions asked, in the bipartisanship. And so the more women we elect, the better. And with that, I do have to hop off. I have an 11 a.m. Call next, but I definitely appreciate everyone joining us. And if I can be of service, please email me anytime. The best email is really any of the emails that folks might have for me. I check all of them, but Anna@annaforflorida.com is probably the easiest one. So that's Anna@annaforflorida.com. Email me there, and you can also see our website there and some resources that I've talked about. So thank you again.
Thank you, Representative, for everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Patricia, your chance to do some wrap up and offer final help to everyone on this call.
Sure, thank you. So thank you so much. Ruth's List is a tremendous resource, and I hope all of you appreciate, and I do, is very much the important work that Ruth's List is doing, just bringing everyone together and giving us all this opportunity as we are socked away in our little corners of the world to come together and talk about these issues and meet each other virtually. I think it's really special, and Pam is amazing, and thank you so much. The thing that my campaign has been focused on in the last few weeks, in addition to keeping up and helping people and providing resources with the employment law issues, is a encouragement of people and helping people to sign up to mail their votes in the elections in this coming season. And it is an important public service that we can all help each other with by sharing that information. I have posted a whole separate voter assistance page on my website. I've been a voter protection leader here in Seminole County since the John Kerry election, and I kind of pivoted away from that role this year in order.
Oops, Patricia just froze. Patricia, we lost you. She'll see that she zoomed out. So again, let me just, while she comes back in to do her closing comments, I want to thank all of you for joining our Wise Women Wednesday. The one word that's not in there, because it's 10 o'clock in the morning, is wine. And I threw that in there once. My whole staff laughed at me. Like, no, Pam, these are at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's no wine involved. It's just Wise Women on Wednesday. But take a look on our website. We are doing not only these on Wednesdays with different topics and different experts, wise women that we have in this state. We'll be continuing these, but we also have a multitude of other events. I'm speaking tonight to Jen McDonald, one of our endorsed candidates who is running for the Hillsborough County Commission, and we'll be doing an hour-long chat with her to reach out to all of her voters and future constituents. Tomorrow, I'll be speaking with both Cindy Polo, our incumbent, Representative Cindy Polo, down in the Miami-Dade area, and Sarah Lee. Oh, Sarah Lee. I'm talking to Jen tomorrow as well, along with Cindy Polo. Tonight, I'm talking to Sarah Leonardi, who is running for school board in the Broward area. So we're talking to both candidates and incumbents. We're talking to people from different geographical women from different geographical areas of the state, and women that are either incumbents or running for office at school board, city or county commission levels, or legislative levels, all of the things that Ruth's List, all of the elected areas that Ruth's List is involved in. And just a reminder, our mission is to identify, recruit, train, mentor, and help get elected Democratic pro-choice women at all levels of Florida state government. And with that, I see Patricia's back. So if you can continue on with your wrap up, Patricia, thank you.
Thank you. So we have produced some really cool little 15-second ads that are all dedicated to mail your vote. And we have posted the first one on our social media, Sigman for Senate, and we've sent it out by email. So please share that little ad. It is a public service of helping people get signed up. And the one thing I just like to tell people is, just because you request a vote by mail ballot doesn't mean you will be limited to being able to vote by mail in November. If the circumstances are such that you are able and want to go and vote in person, even though you receive a vote by mail ballot because you request one, you still have the right to choose instead to go to the polls and vote in person, or drop that off at an early voting site, at least the way that the laws are currently set up right now. And that's always been the case with our vote by mail ballots. So some people are afraid to request one because they say, well, I don't necessarily know I want to vote by mail in November. I might want to go to the polls. All this does is keep all of your options open, and you can still choose to drop that off at an early voting site or go vote in person instead of using your vote by mail ballot. But we hope you'll spread the word. And again, that's all on patriciasigman.com and the voting assistance page.
Great. So again, patriciasigman.com, AnnaForFlorida.com. Both of our guests this morning, the representative is already zoomed on to her, her next meeting. I want to thank her again for her time and her devotion to her community and everything that she has done for the state and her bright, bright future that I think we all see. And also just an honor to have met and now can call a good friend, Patricia Sigman, who is running an outstanding race in Seminole County for Senate District 9 against her opponent, Jason Broder, her Republican opponent, Jason Broder. Clearly you can see a wise woman who deals not just from her head, but with her heart and has for all these years. The best of luck in your campaign, Patricia, and we are proud to be an endorsed organization for your candidacy. And with that, most importantly, I want to thank all of you for just tuning in today, being interested in this subject because it's affecting you deeply and trying to get some answers. Please follow up again with us or with the two presenters with any additional questions. Visit our website. And if you just were interested in or more interested in knowing about Ruth's list, again, visit our website. We have lots of other endorsed candidates on our website that are just as wise women out there in their own right. So be safe. Most importantly, have a wonderful, wonderful day out there. And we'll see you soon back here. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks much, Pamela.